If you've ever watched cartoons, or even if you haven't, you've probably heard of Gumball and its completely insane universe at least once.
Wow! That was amazing!
But did you know that aside from being super funny and entertaining, this show is packed with Easter eggs and clever references? For example, in one episode, we get a nod to one of the biggest animation hits of all time. When Gumball and his brother Darwin are helping their mom Nicole figure out how to use a computer, they run into a pop-up, one of those annoying little windows that show up on websites we visit. And in that moment, we see none other than a creepy version of the Minions, just flipped around. It has blue skin and wears a yellow jumpsuit, but no doubt it's a blatant parody of one of Gru's helpers. Or better yet, it's a fun nod to the most iconic yellow creatures in pop culture. Then there's the episode where Gumball and Darwin decide to create their own streaming service. The madness begins when the internet goes down, and the boys come up with a brilliant and hilarious idea, launching L Moreflix. They improvise everything using cardboard makeshift sets, and the townspeople become the stars of the shows and movies on this totally DIY platform. It's clearly poking fun at Netflix, and if you've ever spent hours scrolling through their catalog, you'll crack up watching this scene. Besides those two, we found a bunch of other cleverly hidden Easter eggs and references in the amazing world of Gumball. So get ready to have your mind blown with us right now. If Gumball has streaming platform jokes, of course anime references weren't going to be left out. In the episode The Others, there's a moment when Gumball goes full Super Saiyan mode, just like Goku. They even gave him glowing blue eyes and spiky hair. Any Dragon Ball fan caught that reference instantly and felt seen, ha ha ha. The show's creators are clearly anime fans too, which makes it all even more awesome. Speaking of movie homages, do you remember the film Candyman? Well, Gumball makes a direct and hilarious nod to the character in a Halloween special episode. It all starts when Tobias and Banana Joe are telling a scary urban legend about a figure called Mr. Candy, who they accidentally summon. It's a clear parody of Candyman, with the same long brown coat and even a hook for a hand. But here, of course, everything is way more funny than scary.
Candy, candy, candy!
Then you'll taste my sweet revenge!
Here's a scene that hits right in the nostalgia for anyone who cried during Toy Story 3. In the episode The Rival, which shows Anais being born and her early days, Gumball nearly falls into a trash incinerator, but Darwin jumps in at the very last second to save his brother. Just like what happens to Woody and the other toys in the incinerator scene from Pixar's third Toy Story movie. It's one of the most emotional references in Gumball, and it just proves how much this show loves to play with pop culture. And guess what? That same episode, The Rival, gets even wilder. The story takes place 4 years before the show's usual timeline, and there's a scene where Gumball and Darwin show up, dressed as princesses. Gumball's wearing a long blonde wig exactly like Rapunzel from the movie Tangled, which came out in 2010. Darwin, on the other hand, is rocking a dress and brown hair that could totally be a nod to Belle from Beauty and the Beast. It's the kind of quick visual gag that flies by, but if you catch it, it'll make you laugh out loud. Of course, the Batman jokes didn't stop there. At the beginning of the episode, The Console, we see Richard trying to chat with Gumball, who's distracted reading a comic book. If you pause for a second, you'll notice the name of the magazine is Batman, a hilarious and ironic parody of The Dark Knight. And the character on the cover, a total Batman ripoff with a gray suit, black cape, and doing evil stuff. Think you've seen all the horror references in Gumball? Then buckle up for this one. In the episode featuring Mr. Candy, which we mentioned earlier, there's still another creepy surprise. At one point in the episode, the construction worker Hank is seen running away in sheer terror. And right after that, a figure shows up with sharp claws, a dark hat, and a ragged old coat. There's no mistaking it. That's Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the most iconic horror villains from the 80s and 90s. Now let's talk games, because Gumball definitely loves a good gaming session. In the episode The Parasite, Anais becomes friends with someone who ends up getting a little too clingy. And to show that, Gumball and Darwin merge into a seriously weird combo. They turn into a creepy, twisted, horrifying creature. For those who know their video games, this form looks a lot like a clicker, one of the infected enemies from The Last of Us, packed with grotesque, fungus-covered monsters. It's a dark and super creative tribute to modern video game universes. Still on the gaming theme, but now diving into some serious nostalgia, Gumball also throws a nod to one of the most legendary games of all time, Street Fighter. During a scene where the brothers pretend to fight, the graphics totally change to classic 8-bit style, just like the old-school arcade machines. And to top it off, they even pull off their own version of the Hadouken. Come on, how can you not laugh at that? Now let's jump back into the magical world of anime. In the Halloween special, there's a genius moment where Mr. Small shows up in a very unexpected costume. He's dressed up as none other than Sailor Moon. Yes, skirt, gloves, and even the magical girl pose. It's one of those blink and you'll miss it references that only the sharp-eyed fans catch instantly, and it's absolutely hilarious. Come on, after spotting all these details and Easter eggs, I think we've earned your subscription, right? Back to the list. The Sailor Moon gag didn't stop with Mr. Small. Apparently, he's not the only adult man in Elmore who's a fan of the Moon Warriors. In another episode, we see Richard Watterson pulling off a full magical girl transformation, right in the middle of the Elmore supermarket. You can't help but crack up watching a character like Richard acting out such an emotional anime-style scene straight out of a 90s cartoon. The scene is so over the top it practically gives away the age of the writers and animators behind Gumball. I mean, no doubt they grew up watching Saturday morning anime marathons, and there's even more horror coming your way in yet another one of Gumball's Halloween-themed episodes. Because yes, there are lots, there's a super well-done and spooky nod to the movie The Ring. It all starts when Leslie and Alan find a VHS tape on the ground. Then, a creepy figure with long hair crawls out of a well. Right away, anyone who's seen the movie will recognize it. It's Samara climbing out of the well, just like in the iconic 2000s horror flick. The reference is crystal clear and perfectly adapted to Gumball's vibe, making the episode even cooler. Continuing with the tributes to classic movies, there's a super fun and at the same time kinda spooky episode called The Flower, where Gumball gets completely overtaken by jealousy because of Penny's cousin Leslie. With some help from the Ghost Carry, they perform a kind of ritual to cast the spirit of jealousy out of Gumball. And when the spirit finally leaves his body, it shows up as a floating green slime, which looks a lot like Slimer, the friendly ghost from Ghostbusters. It's such an obvious reference, it basically feels like a full-on tribute, and the scene is so wild, there's no way you'll forget it. If you're into cartoons that make fun of everything and everyone, this one's gold. In the episode where Gumball and Darwin take part in an intergalactic council, there's a crystal clear nod to Star Wars. They're gathered in this space assembly that's super similar to the Jedi Council, and among the characters, there's a little green alien with pointy ears who looks exactly like Master Yoda. The details are so spot on, even the most distracted viewer will catch the reference. And if you thought the horror movie jokes were over, hold up, there's more. In the Halloween episode, Sarah gets a creepy phone call from an unknown number. And guess who shows up right after? It's Ghostface, the villain from Scream. He's got the exact same outfit, same mask, and the same habit of calling before attacking. A perfect tribute to one of the most iconic horror villains of the 90s. And it doesn't stop there. In the same episode, while Carrie is helping Gumball deal with the ghost of jealousy, there's a specific scene where Leslie steps in with a vacuum cleaner. That's right, a vacuum that looks exactly like the ghost trapping gear from Ghostbusters, the kind they wear on their backs and shoot beams from to capture ghosts. The funniest part, Carrie herself, who's actually a ghost, accidentally gets sucked in. It's classic Gumball humor, totally unexpected and absolutely brilliant. Now let's talk about one of the trickiest references to catch, especially if you were born after the 90s. In one episode, Richard disguises himself as an old lady and joins a group at the mall made up of senior women, who literally do nothing at all. It might just seem like another joke about Richard being lazy, but it's actually a reference to The Golden Girls, a hit 80s sitcom about a group of hilarious retired women. Only those with a soft spot for nostalgia caught on to that one. And to wrap this list up in epic fashion, let's talk about the creepiest character to ever show up in the amazing world of Gumball, the clown. This strange being with an empty face and lifeless eyes is clearly inspired by Pennywise, the terrifying clown from It, a story created by Stephen King. There's even a theory online that he is Pennywise in disguise, and we covered that in a full video here on the channel. Click the card if you want to check it out later. If you're a Gumball fan too, drop a comment down below and let us know which one of these references surprised you the most. And don't forget, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next videos. We're always bringing new and fun stuff around here. See you next time!